Okay, it is 5:15. We'll call the meeting to order. Notice of the meeting has been published, I assume by the city, the proper 7 days in advance and so forth. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is roll call. So we'll just go down the line. Logan here. Pat Clark? Here. Swenson? Lyle is not here. Is Lyle staying on the committee, or is he?
He may beg off, I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
He's getting in pretty bad shape to.
Yeah, I
do-
think health-wise
pretty
and
much
speech-wise.
Wheelchair bound and,
Yeah.
and speech is
Is he
not.
still at Brady Pope now?
Hmm?
Is he at Vera Brady?
Yes. As far as I know, last time I did.
So we may need to talk with the mayor about getting.
If you know anybody else to join, we are probably one or two people short. So,
Okay, yep. Okay, Enders?
Here?
Yes. Larry, you're here telephonically?
Yeah,
Okay. Mel?
Here,
And Jim Beekler is absent. Anyone know on Jim? I don't have contact, if the old contact info we have isn't working.
yeah.
Let's see what we can do, so. Okay, so we do have a quorum.
good.
Declaration of conflicts of interest on any of the items appearing on the agenda, please state them now.
this is Jerza, item number 7. I have to abstain from that. That is actually my building, 123 North Main.
That's going to be a tougher one to get through, Larry, I don't know. Okay, and any other conflicts of interest? Okay, hearing none, we'll continue. Approval of the agenda that's been sent out.
We need to elect officers.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, election of officers.
Yeah.
So with our barely having a quorum, the terms go 1 year at a time. So we can all volunteer for another term. I've been serving as chair. And we really don't have a treasurer, secretaries.
I'm the secretary.
Okay,
Pat was the vice chair.
Mark's been doing that. Okay, Pat, vice chair. Do we hear any volunteers or nominations?
I think we ought to just leave it alone and let the ones serve that are serving until we can find some replacements.
Well, at least until we get more out of this.
And understand for sure how everything continues to
Yes.
go, and that since I've personally
could
been
be
to one
a
other one.
So we have a motion or a nomination for that. We have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Ashley, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, actually, we have to go roll call because Larry's on the phone.
Oh, okay, okay.
Larry.
Well, okay,
Okay.
we've got Larry's vote. It's for-
So
Yeah.
I'll just run through real quick. Clark,
Yes.
Enders,
Yes.
Jerza,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes,
Cooley,
Yes.
motion carried to keep as is.
okay. So we continue.
Yep.
Now we can go on, sorry about that omission. We can go on to the approval of the previous minutes that have been sent to you.
Now you need to do the agenda first.
Oh, I'm sorry, the agenda, yeah, I'm skipping ahead. The agenda's been sent out, this is what's been posted, so our meeting is restricted to these items. Do I hear a motion for approval? Or additions or anything? Okay, moved by Pat,
Second.
second by Mel. All in favor, say aye.
No, we have to do roll call.
Oh, because, sorry.
Was he
Forget
the
about
roll
that.
keeper?
Okay,
By the end of the meeting, you'll be used to it.
I'll be used to it by then, yep, okay. Mark, go ahead and call the roll.
Enders,
Yes.
Jerza,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Cooley,
Aye.
Clark,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, there we go. Now we can get to the approval of the minutes.
We do need to amend the minutes.
Yes.
In item number 6, I had the August 21st, 19 Planning Commission. It's actually Historical Preservation Commission. And then on item 7, Clark stated there's buildings at USD, not SDSU. So I can amend those, so that way they were read correctly.
Any other corrections or additions to the minutes? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
So moved.
This is Thursday, I'll move to approve.
Okay. Moved and seconded?
I'll
And,
second.
okay. Have a second, go ahead. Call the roll?
Logan,
Yes.
Cooley,
Yes.
Jurza,
Yes,
Enders,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. Item number 7 on the current agenda, the recommendation on 123 North Main. A packet has been sent to you with photos and descriptions. This is Larry's building, and Larry, you will abstain.
Yes.
But that also means that we have Larry here to ask questions. So
Larry,
we'll open it for discussion or questions.
I have a question for you, and this is Mel. You gonna put a flat roof on that thing, or are you gonna have some slant to it?
the roof, original roof sloped from the east side to the west side, from Main Street to the alley. And actually most of the buildings downtown did that originally. But the roof was, original roof was a built-up roof. And when I first got the building, took ownership of almost 30 years ago, I put a metal roof on. The metal roof was a little over 25 years old, I think. And then the windstorm that came through last Memorial Day blew quite a bit of that off. And then you got a bunch of rain and damaged a lot of stuff on the inside. But the roof that got replaced was a metal roof, very similar to what was on there before. It follows the original roof line, and it still drains from Main Street to the alley, with the gutter at the alley and all the water spilling out the alley.
Okay,
So nothing really changed there.
so it is slanted, it isn't flat, it isn't
Yeah.
flat steel, okay.
No, it is not dead flat. No, it slopes. I'll tell you what. It probably I don't know the actual inches per foot, but the attic space on the front part of the building is about 4.5 feet high, and on the alley side it's about 12 inches. So the roof slopes from east to west about 3.5 feet over 142 feet long. That's technically what it is. So it does slope.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
Yes.
Larry, this is Jeff. The question I'd have is, this roof, as your previous metal roof, I'm assuming from what you're saying, is not going to be visible from the street? It doesn't
No,
project up above the parapet walls?
No, the new roof actually has been installed. It was, I had to get a roof on real quick because every time it rained, it leaked in the building. So the new roof is actually on there. It's all in place and it's all completed. So if you drive by, that's what it's going to look like, and you won't see the metal roof. The only time you'll be able to see the metal roof is if you go to the overpass on Sanborn. You may be able to see some of it then as you get on top of the overpass, but other than that, you're not going to see the metal at all. It's, like I said, it's there. It's installed.
Be a quick glimpse.
So really what this is, it's a recommendation either for or against, for him to be able to present this to the bid board for the city of Mitchell to try and get some grant dollars.
Reimbursement.
Reimbursement, yeah. The project's already all been done because of his emergency situation that he had. So he's going retroactively to try and get $20,000 from them, but we have to make a recommendation to that board to either say, yes, we are in support of it, or no, we are not in support of it.
Any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion either way?
I don't know if I can say I'm on the bid board.
You can still,
You're-
you don't
Okay.
have a conflict for that because that is still.
I'm a non-voting member there.
Yeah,
So
so-
I just kind of take notes.
That's why I was glad that you were here still, because that gave us our quorum for this. and I knew that you wouldn't be conflicted with that one.
Yep, and I know I will be presenting this in a couple
But you'll
weeks
be-
to our bid board
right,
then too.
Full voting member of
Yes.
this board. So-
Yep, okay.
So,
I'd move to approve.
okay, do we have a second?
I have said.
Okay.
I feel
Yeah.
like it did alternate.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Nope, roll
No?
call.
Roll call? Well, I was just gonna say, call the roll.
Dooley? Yes. Clark?
Yes.
Enders?
Yes.
Jerza?
Abstain?
Logan?
Yes.
Motion carried. We
Okay.
can Russell kill our buildings, that's, I'm glad he did that.
Well,
And like you said, not a flat roof, which will, that was
Right.
pressure on it.
yeah, it sounds like he's maintaining the slope, if not increasing the slope a little bit from the drawings provided to us. Yeah, I'm just part of the country, flat. And I think often when we speak of flat roofs, we don't literally mean flat, as, it's just as opposed to a peaked roof, so it's a flat with a slope. I hope no one builds a truly flat roof.
Roofers will, great business.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, it means that they'll definitely have repair, return work. Moving on to item 8, review and comment the proposal for raising of the two buildings at 112 and 114 East First Avenue.
So as you see in your packet, 112 and 114 East First, they would like to raise the building. This is the building that had the accident, the truck run into it, as you can see from the photos that were submitted. They said it wasn't financially feasible for them to repair the buildings, they'd like to demo it down. That was sent to SHPO. SHPO sent that it would encroach upon historical property, so that's why it's coming to this board for your either agree with the findings that Tim Allen, the applicant, has presented, disagree, or decline comment at all. Those are your three options for what we have to do with this. Tim is on the road right now, transporting somebody to California. He said if you can call him if you have any questions for him that aren't answered, or if you have any questions that I can't answer for him. The other building at that location will also be coming in front of this board. So there are 4 addresses there right now. It's 112, 114, 116, and 118. 116 and 118 will also come back in front of this board as well. They are looking to razz that building as well. So
And-
if this all goes through, that whole block from the alley to the east would be all demoed. If
So that
everything,
was
And are
my
those
question.
separate, well, go ahead.
The connecting walls, basically, I mean, if you take down
yeah.
one.
Are
we
they common
gonna-
walls?
are we
yeah, I
gonna- yeah.
believe between this one and that one, it is a common wall. There was some commonality from when the city tore down their portion of the building on the corner. And it didn't all the way get tore down because you can see some of that still staying there because they didn't want to go any further to make sure that we didn't crumble their wall. So it could be a domino effect. Once one starts, it's going to continue through.
The 116 and 118 buildings, they're owned by separate owners?
Correct. They're owned by Claggett, and they're going through the process with this as well. They were given this 11.1 case report to fill out, just like Allen was as well. They just haven't returned it to us yet.
Any idea on Alan's timeframe if this gets approved?
They'd like to move as soon as possible with it.
This is a disease we have. You know, if any of you have ever been on the East Coast or in Europe, there's buildings built in the 1700s that are still standing. And this deferred maintenance is killing us.
That's right.
You know, we just quit, well, the Carnegie's a good example, is they decided to quit spending money on it. And after enough time of no maintenance, it becomes junk and we tear it down, so we wind up with another parking lot.
We're going to have another item on the agenda as a building with deferred maintenance or neglected maintenance. It's
And
part of the cause there as well.
when it gets this bad, I don't think we have a choice, but I'd sure like to somehow turn it around so we can somehow encourage owners to maintain those buildings rather than just, let her go, it's an old building. That's
Yeah.
probably not a discussion for here and now, but it's something that.
It's an
a
educational
concern.
thing that would be good, but free enterprise, we can't force people to take a class on how to maintain their building. Have good
Unless we
stewardship.
come up with a building Nazi.
There we go. We'll make you czar of the buildings.
Then I would be taken out, I'm sure.
I think, one good thing, quite a few of the buildings beyond repair are already gone. And you look out in the inventory now, there aren't near as many candidates, I don't think, that we'll be dealing with. in the next-
Today, my problem is that it continues on. I hate to wind up with like some of our little towns around here, we wind up with parking lots and tin sheds.
Yeah.
Eventually, unless you maintain them, they all go.
Thankfully, I think a lot of the buildings that have the real bad or lack of maintenance have already crumbled. I think what's left, we're starting to maybe slowly come to the realization. Did SHPO give any reason other than they would like to see it preserved?
That's the only thing they said, just it'll encroach upon, and that's it.
Right, because I was kind of questioning what things of the building, are things you'd want to keep, or a certain aspect of it, or, I mean, I see there's brick and
They
that, but,
didn't list any reason, I mean, there's no significance of the architect who designed it or anything, history in the buildings?
Based on information provided, the proposed project has potential to encroach upon, damage, or destroy, that include National Register of Historical Places, State Register. The proposed demolition will destroy the historic property. That's the only thing that was stated.
Historic simply because it was built a long time ago.
right,
Yeah.
where it was originally. Because if you look at it, it's got a lot of different aspects to it already with wood and brick and
Right.
windows and bigger windows, and you can tell it's not at all original.
And where the truck ran into it, it exposed more of some of the construction, wasn't particularly.
There was a developer that was interested in this whole area until it got to SHPO portion of it, and they kind of backed out on it because they knew the process that it would take. But there have been developers that would like to razz the buildings and build something new there with the historic features that would go along in that area, but probably something along the lines of business on the main floor, apartments above. So there is interest in this corner.
In purchasing
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
So not just the parking lot there.
Nice piece of real estate.
Do we have any further discussion? Anyone in the audience want to comment? Otherwise, do we have a motion?
I think, Mark, that comment from SHPO is kind of a standard boilerplate, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Any other one that I've been involved with, it's always the same thing.
Yeah, they will say that.
I
And
think-
it's true, what they say. And SHPO also will never, they do not take into consideration the economic factors. It may cost more than the building is worth, they don't care.
Right.
They care about, say, historic building. So, I mean, just know that, nothing wrong with that, I'm not criticizing it, but it's just, that's the approach or where they're coming from. Do we have a
I think
motion?
due to the damage on it, I don't think that there's much of a choice. I think raising it is probably the only option, and I would vote yea on that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, let's call the roll.
Clark,
Yes.
Enders,
Yes.
Jerza,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Cooley,
Yes.
motion carried.
So I see on the paperwork that it's already checked, that we agree with the findings.
I can read mine.
Well, now it's official, that's what. Okay, and we'll know that probably in the next meeting, the next two buildings, 116, 118 will come before us. Item 9 on the agenda, raising of the home at 622 North Duff Street. You also have that in your packet, and I think, Terry, you're going to speak to that?
Sure. And this one will be the raising and rebuilding of the.
Replacing.
Replacing, so that way it can actually speed through the process by not just doing the raising at one meeting, then having that completed, having to do the whole thing again through SHPO again, and having it go through the same process again.
So do we have to also approve the design that Terry is proposing
Yep, yep.
as separate motions, or
You can do it as one motion.
in one motion?
Yep,
Because you're just approving the application, right?
yep,
Okay,
exactly.
that's, the applications he's written out, okay.
Yep.
And I think I know everybody, but Terry Sabers, and I wanted to explain a little bit first of what MAHI is, or Mitchell Area Housing. I don't think I've had a chance, Pat knows, he's been in a couple meetings, I've talked about it, but a year ago right now, I agreed to head up a group to try to build more, or facilitate the building of more starter homes, I call it. Workforce housing is the latest discussion, and that's more efficient homes that, we built in the 70s and 80s, 1,000 square foot homes that were, good starter homes. And there hasn't been any done because there's been so much demand for the larger homes. So that's what we are facilitating, and one of the first things we said is, well, let's find some empty lots, or some areas where there is a house in disrepair extremely, that we could maybe tear down and put a new home in its place to revitalize some neighborhoods. I think we all know that some of our core of the city neighborhood is really getting run down. And that's also another focus of ours. In fact, we just got a $100,000 grant, and we're seeking another $200,000 to go in and do grants to lower income folks so that they can make improvements to their home so that they can continue to live in them. That might be a furnace, because they can't afford to put a new furnace in. It could be an electrical issue, it could be siding, windows, a roof, whatever. And so we're just putting together the paperwork right now, and they could be $5,000 to $25,000 grants. Once you get, how it is, once you get in there, well, now we should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Okay, so that's a program that we're working on right now, which I think will be very good. I've got a couple people that want to work on it, and so far we have no administrative costs, which is good, everything we get. I've got my crew of retired people, okay, that are working on this. And so anyway, you'll hear more about that coming up as we advertise looking for grants. But this was a nuisance home. In one of the storms last spring, a tree fell over on the roof, and you can see that hole in the roof, and nothing was ever done. I don't even know who cut the tree down, but somebody did. And so it was brought to my attention, so I started contacting this individual. After about a dozen discussions, I finally convinced him that he should sell the house to us so that we could reutilize that area. Well, in the process, the second time I met with him, I noticed this sign on the curb there. It said some downtown historic district. So I called Mark, and he said, yeah, that's the north house in that district. So anyway, we started talking about what we could do, and I took pictures of the existing homes in that neighborhood, and obviously, as you can tell, there were some exterior changes done to some of those homes that did not come through here for approval. So there's all kinds of finishes on the exterior of those homes. But the two next door to it is right there, those two that he's got on the screen. I looked at those and said, you know what, we can get close to matching those. And so we've designed a home with a porch on the front, so it looks very similar to those homes. And I've got a copy of that included. And so we purchased the home from him in December. There's a garage in the rear of it that is not in this discussion, because we will renovate that garage. It's salvageable. A two-car garage, not detached garage, and it comes off of the alley there by that parking lot. So that'll work out fine. Whatever we put on this house for siding will match that. so it'll look good. And obviously, Rick Martin, it was, how many years at UBC?
46.
Oh, boy, 46 years. He doesn't look that old. And so he's been a big help to us in designing the homes that we've done. You know, we did a governor's home down by the college, and right now we've got a home at 1301 East Birch that just finished up and that we've got for sale. So he's been very valuable. We've beat around this floor plan of how can we do something that is, has a payment that's affordable. You know, on one of our homes, when their interest rate went from 3.25% to 6.25%, that payment went up $480 a month. And so for somebody who's in a starter home, you know what that does to their affordability. So we've worked on this plan of how can we make it something. It's 1,120 square feet, 2-bedroom, nice size living room. It'll be a very nice home. And I think it'll fit in that neighborhood very well. The other homes are fairly good, except a couple of them across the street to the north. So you can see the cost of the demo and renovation. It was well over 300,000, let's put it that way. And you can see from the pictures, I was appalled when I went into that house the first time. You know, about the third time in there, I got used to it, but it was I don't know how somebody could live in it, but, you know. And so anyway, that's our proposal. I don't think that there's anything else that I need to mention. And this gentleman had owned it for over, I think it was 25 years he had owned it, so. And we've done a fair amount of research, and there's just really not another alternative.
How long has it been unoccupied?
What's that?
How long has it been unoccupied?
Literally, he moved out. Whether he should have lived in there or not, he was in there till the 1st of December.
But without heat, from the reading, without heat, without electricity.
He had electricity.
Okay.
Yeah.
No water.
No water.
No water.
So anyway, yes. So as you,
You can slab on grade, or are you gonna do a basement?
well, we've beat that around, and it just, you know, the affordability factor in that neighborhood, we were looking at as a slab. You know, a zero entry is the term, because then it's enticing to an elderly couple also. That's the thing. You know, all of the twin homes that are being built, they're all zero entry, because it can either be a young couple, a single person, or an elderly person.
I was thinking more about our storm cycles, you know, May through July, no place to hide.
Right, right. I understand, you know.
Is that roof, you gonna do shingles or tin?
Shingles. Mhm. And, you know, there may be more come up. I mean, frankly, I thought there were more bare lots in Mitchell than there were. I mean, I drove all over a number of times, and there were a couple of them. You know, this one, I mean, it had liens, and it was a process to get it to where we built that, the 1301 East Birch, but we've not been able to find any other empty lots. One just came up, and I'm working with the guy to buy that, so. And we're open to finding more, so.
And in full disclosure, Terry talked to me about this some months ago, and so I drove that neighborhood and drove by it, and it is true. These were, like you say, workforce from those days, workmen's houses,
Mhm.
when they were housing at that time in the 1920s, whenever they were built, and what they're proposing would fit in with the other homes there. It looks very similar style and dimensions and so forth. So they've been sensitive to the area, and I think with new construction, still maintaining the look that would have been built
Mhm.
when this was built and when the other homes were built. And as he mentioned, there's, you know, truly historical, yes, there's some different siding and you know, driveway, whatever applied, but it's still, it's all in keeping, in character with the neighborhood.
Well, it doesn't look like there's a lot of historical aspects to, you know, that are, like you said, salvageable anyway. I mean, the windows look pretty damaged, the foundation looking
Mhm.
pretty bad.
Even when it's new, I wouldn't even consider it historical home. I mean, this would be nothing but a plus.
Right. It'll just help the area
Well,
overall,
SHPO's response, same thing, it's just.
just because it's in the
boilerplate
district.
Mhm.
is destroying a historical building.
Do you know when it was built here?
Excuse me?
Do you know when this house was built, Marty?
I think it was 1915 or 20, somewhere in
It
there.
doesn't even have the stucco, you know, like compared to the others, which I felt like was more even at that era.
No, just demolition of contributing building will destroy historic property, and new construction may encroach upon historic property in the Mitchell West Central Residential Historical District. Nothing pertaining to what? Boilerplate.
I take that back, it was built in 1900, but there's no historical, like you mentioned, it's
Right, I mean,
just
I
got
don't see
siding on
anything.
it and
Like
basic
the windows,
windows.
sometimes they have the really neat panes
Oh,
or
yeah.
stained glass window or
Stained glass.
something that we could
After
keep and you could like put into the new
100
home
years,
or something
Right.
cool, but I just don't even see anything they could put into a new construction.
I think this was a starter home back then. so
Right,
it was built
exactly.
Right, There's
economical.
nothing,
Nothing wrong with
Super
it, but
fancy
economically
about
for
it.
a starter home.
Well, if it was built in 1900, that's when the early homes were built here.
Right.
You know, there aren't too many of them earlier than 1900, I don't think.
courthouse was, you know, in that area, and that's where it brought them in.
I believe it'll be nothing but an improvement, so I would move to approve.
Okay. Any other questions for Rick while we have him here on the design of the new home?
Well, this is Larry Jersa. I just want to say I think the solution or what's proposed is perfect for the market and the situation of things nowadays, and of what we're trying to accomplish in Mitchell to clean things up. It's a shame you can't build a house like what it cost in 1900 or whatever, but you know, it's just the average house or the average cost of a home nowadays is over $400,000, and if you can build something that fits into a neighborhood that's a starter home for half of that price, I think that's a tremendous accomplishment. And I think it would fit into the neighborhood fine. It's definitely an improvement over what's there, and sometimes you just have to look at the financial ends of things, and that's what makes things work. That's why things don't work on Main Street. Financially, they don't pan out. And if you can't make a dollar on it, it's never going to happen, you know. So I think I'm behind this thing 100%. I think it's spot on.
It's a major improvement to high visibility corner.
Right. Very
Right.
traffic.
You got the
Right.
trucks going
It is.
by there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Very good course of action.
Okay, I believe we have a motion, is that correct? No?
Yes.
Yep, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Enders,
Yes.
Jerza,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Cooley,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep it up,
Thank you for
Larry.
coming up. I think this will be a nice asset for Mitchell, and it's a win-win-win all the way around. It'll be good, and it's certainly needed. Next
Yeah,
item-
I'll agree with you, Steph.
Good. Next item on the agenda, item 10, approval of a proposed sign at 100 West Fifth Avenue on the building there. Again, you've been given a packet, and it's, there we are. What's being proposed is a large, I think, 10 by 20 foot digital sign.
Yep, that's correct. Any signs in the historic district are supposed to come in front of this board for approval. Tara Valesky is here. She's the applicant for this location. It's a 10 by 20. She's indicated out of the three, it's the third one, the bottom one is what she's looking or proposing to do. We don't really have in our ordinance what this sign would be, because it's not technically a wall sign, it's not a freestanding sign, it's not a roof sign, it's just an electronic message billboard. It can only be on-premise signs, so it can only be for the five or six businesses that are in that corner location. Size-wise, it fits underneath the 600 total square feet that she's allotted for all signs combined, because she has two frontages there, so all of that combined is put well underneath the 600 square feet. The historic commercial district, it's application permit, the commission review, sign requirements, the number limited, you fit within that. The design criteria would be the one catch that could maybe be disputed about. The lettering, numbering style of signage or identification will be in accordance with the period of the dominant features of the current facade and may not detract from appropriate period or detailing. Signs may list the building and name, address, advertising, which that's what it would do, but it doesn't fit within the constraint of when the building was built. That could be one of the
It's too
factors.
technology, too
That's
digital
in
and
our technology.
makes sense.
But there are other ones downtown already, so there's that goes with that.
Tara, do you want to speak to it?
If you guys have any questions, I want it, when they do come out, they're gonna do a template, so I just,
Come up to the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aaron, you know that.
oh yeah, my husband told
There's
me
so
to
many
keep my
people
mouth
watching.
shut. Good, don't even talk. Well, I'm sorry, I can't. Okay, but I want it to look uniform with the building, so when the sign company comes out, they're going to do a template. Now, to me, that looks too tall, but we went by the law, the specifications was what, 200 square feet, Mark? Something like that?
600.
Or say, well, we won't do that. And you see that awning, that there's going to be a black awning there, steel, straight steel, whatever it's called. And then the building's painted gray, and the top of it where the sign is will be a charcoal gray, so it'll blend in nicely. Right now, it looks gaudy to me, because it's kind of orange and black.
It's just digitally edited in there, so once it's all tied together, they'll.
I know, it'll tie together very nicely when it's all said and done, but I'm going to make sure the company does some templating to see, to make sure it's uniform with the building so it's not overpowering, and it'll blend, it's black, so it'll blend in well with the building, with the Dorian gray and the charcoal and the black, so.
So the not stucco, but the shingle wood,
Yeah, that's going to be like a Bridger steel type look where it, goes like 18 inches and then 1 inch. What's that called? It's not corrugated, but it's straight and then, yeah.
And Schifo has already approved, that didn't have to come in front of this board, they approved her concept for the facelift of the building.
okay?
They did not feel that competed with the historical value of it, so they saw what she was gonna do for that portion of it.
I'm going to also do tuck pointing and whatever to preserve that building because it is a beautiful building, especially the brick part in the front.
It's a nice corner.
It is, except I'd like to take Chris's sign off the front, but no. I know, they go, where's your building? Oh, where Chris Knipe's picture is.
Well, and that
Well,
part is kind of black right now, Chris's part, the windows and all that.
And I'm gonna redo the front of the
Ties that.
windows, I'm gonna he's got shades that pull down, we're gonna get them done professionally to the spring, but can't do it all at once.
I think Larry has a comment?
Yeah, I guess the only concern I have is I know there's apartments across the street in the Fifth and Main building, and if the sign, if this is an electronic sign, then I suppose I assume it's going to be flashing messages and different light levels are going to be flashing. I'm just concerned about the light coming from a sign that's going to be flashing where people are living and have their bedrooms with windows in it with lights flashing through the haze or blinds or whatever. that's the thing I'm concerned about. Can you tell me, Terry, can you tell me, is this sort of a low-profile message sign with is not very
Yeah.
bright, or what's the plan? Is
Right.
it a message grid?
Oh, well, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, we're going to go by whatever the city wants, but it's going to probably be advertisement for the people in the building. And
Okay.
I'm suggesting, I guess, the people across the street, I don't see where it could be a problem, I guess. I mean, if it's in their bedroom, don't they usually have drapes? Or, you know,
Well, I know, but it's, I'll tell you, Terry, I lived downtown for 25 years. And I tell you, there's two things that distract or deter people from moving downtown. Number one is the noise, and number two is the light, and all the, all that kind of stuff that disrupts things that you would normally do in your normal life, such as sleep or work or whatever. That's why I'm just mentioning it, because I experienced those same things. And that's why I'm asking the question. If it is something that's so bright that it affects people in their living in their bedrooms, their apartments across the street, to do a sign that is a dimmer sign in terms of the brightness of it, I don't see where that would be a problem. But if it gets too bright,
right?
then I see where it would be an issue, and that's something technically I can't tell you any more if it's a problem or not a problem, but I'm just concerned about it, that's all.
We do have in our ordinance for electric message centers,
Part D.
brightness levels that they can be at. Under D,
Okay.
message centers, residential zoning, which it's commercial, but from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. they have to be turned down or shut off. And there's certain candle light strengths that they can be at during those times as well.
Your intent wouldn't be to run it 24 hours a day.
Well, probably not. Yeah, because, I mean,
Well, electricity, turn it off.
whatever, you know, I'm not
No one's open.
And you can, just
turn the,
electronic board by the chamber there, it does have different, pixel, like the strength of the 100%, and we
Yeah.
can taper down to 80% and so forth. So you can do that.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be in charge. I'd have someone that knows what they're
It's
doing.
all, done electronic we sign into an app.
Oh,
basically.
oh, yeah,
So we
I'd
do
be
have
open to
some-
that.
Some guidelines to still go by for that, Larry, to make sure
Okay.
it's not a nuisance to a neighbor for that.
The Part D is really pretty good if all that's followed. It's too bad that wasn't in the packet, so you don't have it, Larry, but it does
Yep.
specify limitations on the signs that I think would address your concerns.
I think it's kind of nice to have a little more light on Main Street.
Well, yeah, with all the,
People, that's kind of a dark, or this way at least you get a little bit of light there in the center of Main Street.
probably less crime on the corner. But, yeah, yeah, and I'd be willing to turn it down or possibly off at a
But
certain time.
There's a different, like a night mode or something, you
Okay.
click and it does it at a certain time.
Oh,
So I'm
Nice.
assuming this company would be very similar. I mean, all the digital boards, I think, run all
I
about
know
the
that
same.
chamber was really bright, so.
Yes, I was like, I know,
we could go to Vegas.
Well, the other thing, I'm going to mention one other comment. To me, just looking at some of the other historical type signs that are on buildings, for me, the more appropriate location for this sign is on the south side of the second story wall of the higher part of the building. Similar to Jeff, maybe you all know the sign that was put on the north wall of Charlie's Shoes. That type of, I know this sign would be electronic, but signs that were on the sidewalls of buildings in these historic districts were typically hand painted on, and those signs, I know historical people like to see those, but in terms of the location of the sign, to me, architecturally, that would be more appropriate on the south wall. This is a sign that stands up to where structurally you're going to really have to tie that thing down because it's going to be exposed to the toughest wind that we get, and that's from the northwest. I'll just tell you that from experience. But they're actually building that sign appropriately and structurally to withstand the wind load. Might be a little tougher than what these sign guys are maybe looking at. I don't know, but that would be the other concern I'd have too, is be sure it's structurally adequate to withstand the wind loads. And if you applied it to the side of the building, you wouldn't have that issue to deal with at all. It would be a whole lot less expensive to apply it to the side of the brick than to build a freestanding thing. So, just as a comment.
Very good point, Larry. I did have it placed on the side of the building, on the south side, there on the brick, and I don't know, I love that brick. You would be covering that beautiful brick, and before it even goes up or whatever, I would make sure, I'd have a structural engineer, make sure it's doable. And now it's a steel structure building, which was built around, it's in addition to this two-story, it was built, I think about 1949. Reg Mantell I had coffee with him today, and he said it is a steel structure, but you still want to make sure that it's doable. And, but I did have it placed. I mean, I could send you a picture of it, but, oh, wow. It just seemed like it took away from the two-story building, covering all that brick.
Wouldn't it cover your window?
Well, you could not, that one probably would. Not necessarily. You could just put it to the east of the window, but then you're covering a lot of that brick. I love that brick.
Sure.
And I think that building was painted white at one time, and didn't they power wash the paint off? But, and I'm going to get the paint, there's still a little bit of paint up there, but I want to get it preserved and coated so it preserves the brick, so.
Yeah, I know quite a few years ago that side was tuck pointed. I remember the guy doing it.
It was tuck pointed?
Yeah, the south side of that building was, I can't remember, it's been quite a few years ago, but I remember when they did that.
Okay, because I was going to have someone come and do some tuck pointing because I saw some spots where brick needs to be repaired or filled in or whatever, but, yeah.
Well, I just think, Kara, once you get involved in the structure of that sign where you have it proposed to withstand the wind load, I think you're going to have some real structural issues, just to warn you.
Okay.
Because that's a big sign and there's a lot of wind load on that.
Right.
A 90-mile-an-hour wind, that's what they have to design it for.
Right.
That's a lot of pounds per square foot, and that's a lot of resistance you're going to have to build into the structure, and it's going to have to go down to the ground, to the concrete, and you may have to put some foundation on it. I'm just warning you. I'll just guarantee to do it the right way, that's what you're going to have to do. So, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with making sure everybody gets a chance to look at the structure of it and make sure that the structure's stamped by a structural engineer. Other than that, I'd have more concern about the safety of it than the look of it.
Okay.
So, anyway.
And we could maybe go smaller, not so high either, so that, it'd be a lot less wind.
Yeah, the smaller you make the sign, the better off you're going to be structurally and cost-wise. I will tell you that for sure.
Okay,
so
I appreciate
it'll be
that.
something you'll just have to look at the cost difference if it's worth your investment. If it costs you $100,000 to build that big sign, or if it costs you $10,000 to build a smaller one, my guess is you're probably going to build the smaller one.
Well, that's a possibility. That's a big price range. Okay. But yeah, you're right. I need to get a structural engineer up there and check it out.
Piggybacking on what Larry said. A little experience with roof signs and marquees and things. And I know, like in Huron, you get diagonal braces that tie into the roof joists further back to hold them up, to give them this, to be able to handle the wind load. And so you're opening up problems where it flexes and you get roof leaks and all that. I think Larry's right for the maintenance and headache, avoiding headaches you'd have in the future. I think with a sign that large, yeah, you're gonna, and you could need, and we've had to do that, put footings down into the basement, all the way down, the steel coming up
Wow,
to handle things. And so
okay.
I think it may be more practical. It would also be more historical. And Larry's right, that originally in a historic building, it would have been painted. But that's not practical nowadays. When you have different tenants, you can just get in the computer and change the name of the tenant. And,
Right.
and you aren't repainting the entire sign.
Right.
Or scabbing things on it, panels on it. I think this is a practical solution, but I would kind of urge you, and maybe you hit a compromise of leaving a lot of the brick exposed, but getting a sign up there may
Okay.
actually do as good or better a job for you. And I think with less headaches, less cost initially and less headaches in the future. I know we've done a lot of roof patching on where
Jeez,
braces went into the roof and you, wow, yeah.
wow.
So,
Well, would it be okay if I get a structural engineer to look at it and see what he says? And if it is, I mean, if it's not doable, it's not doable. I'm not gonna,
don't
I
need
don't,
approval for that, but I'd sure recommend it.
yeah, definitely. And then maybe just put it on hold until, do some more research and get some, straight answers, because I'm not an expert, and, but at least I know where to go now, but yeah, I understand, yeah.
Due to the cost of those electronics.
Oh, shoot, don't even go,
I'd make sure your insurance company knew about it.
yep,
They may cost extra, but
oh, yeah.
if they'd take that baby down, it would,
Yeah, and I don't want to do it if it's going to be.
You don't want those things flexing either.
No, if it's going to be a hazard, I don't want it up there. I mean, but I guess we won't know unless, and, if you scale it back to, like, bring it down. I don't know, I just thought it would kind of blend in with the building better, putting it over there, but I'll definitely look into that.
May accomplish your goals and
But you guys,
those recommendations.
yeah, you guys gave me some great good ideas. Thank you.
It's good to have the architect on the line.
Thanks, Larry.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't want you to just get yourself into a mess that you'll be sorry for. I really don't.
I appreciate
So, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, any items to come before the commission?
Well, is there a motion to approve that then?
Well, I don't know is,
Just wait, I
yeah, I
wouldn't
think
approve it right now.
come back with a different
Yeah.
proposal,
Yeah.
yeah. Study it more and come back with a
Exactly.
proposal. Not necessarily different, but study it, yeah. So
Right, thank you
if
very much.
that's all right, we don't need a motion.
We're
Okay.
we're tabling this.
For tabling.
Thank you.
Yeah, that
Do we
sounds.
want, do we want a motion maybe to table it then?
Yeah.
And recommend?
I'll make a motion to table it.
There we go.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
do
you.
we have a second?
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you, Tara. Do we have a second to the motion?
I'd second it.
Okay, Pat was first. Okay. Call a roll on tabling it.
Cooley,
Yes.
Jerza,
Yes,
Enders,
Yes.
Clark. Yes. Logan,
Yes.
motion carried to table.
Okay. Nothing else to come before the commission?
Do you have any ideas?
Oh, wait. Oh, sure. Okay, public input.
As I'm sitting here thinking, and as I think you might all know, I own the old Mitchell National Bank building, the Tickle Pink is. One of the things we've talked about is putting canopies on the front. That might be timely, from that era. If we want to do that, do I have to go to our contact in Pier first, or come through you, Mark, come through this?
You have a Deadwood grant, don't you?
Well, I have a couple Deadwood grants, yes,
They have a clause in them that you have to get anything
approved by them. Right, right. I didn't know if we needed to start here or if I should contact her.
It would go You come to us to request a building permit for the awning, because that would be a permitted structure, and then that would trigger it to go up to SHPO for them to approve or deny it at that point.
Okay.
And then bring it to here if they didn't approve it, and so on and so forth.
But I'd clear it with Deadwood too.
Yeah, who is our contact again? It was,
It's changed.
has it? Okay.
It used to be Liz,
Liz Omley.
Amelie, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And now I believe, I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
Liz was who I always talked to.
Yeah.
too.
If-
Years ago.
if we decided to do that, would that be eligible for a bid grant?
Yep.
Okay. So
Well,
that
it'd be
would,
the same concept, we would just need, the application, but we kind of refer to this input plus then Mark, so we
Mhm.
know when I take it to the bid board, what suggestions are before the
Great,
grant. and
great.
Funds for that.
and under the bid board, under the bid, ooh, which reminds me, I gotta make sure I paid my bid dues.
As
You
again, it's the-
you know, we get one letter back ways and then I forget about it.
Yeah.
And so is that a percentage that they'll pay under the bid?
The bid board, yep, so it's a max of 20,000 requests per project, and then the bid board will look it over and kind of go on percentage of
Okay,
what the
okay.
project is.
Got it. All right. Good enough. As long as I was here, I wanted to ask. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's an example. Not all the buildings downtown are built well, but this is built like it's concrete all the way down and it's solid. And that's why I invested in a new roof. I invested in tuck pointing and some extensive interior
Those
upgrade.
pillars and
Right,
the inside,
right, exactly.
the vault.
Done a
Right.
good job.
Right, right.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I would just, let's think about some new members.
Well, I was going to suggest we adjourn first,
I see,
and it's not on the agenda, so then we can just have an informal discussion
okay.
here over coffee or beer or something.
Well, just email Mark if you have an idea.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I'm just trying to think of somebody to replace Swanson.
You know, there's that Rick Martin guy who retired recently, and he has some expertise, you know?
I'm keeping him pretty busy.
Expertise in
One thing at a time.
So we need to make a motion.
And Terry Sabers too, you know?
I'm also looking for volunteers.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Volunteers are hard to find.
They are. That's
Absolutely.
exactly.
Harder all the
right.
time, too.
That's exactly right, so.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, don't need a second. All in favor, say aye.
Me and second.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to take a roll call on that one. Everyone wants to adjourn.
Yeah, we're good.
We're adjourned.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, thanks.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Larry.
thanks.